Alright, we're going to start with a vertical line because we are drawing a symmetric object, the upside down yogurt cup, and I'm going to put a horizontal line across the top to draw the very first ellipse around. Give yourself something to aim at for the back side of the ellipse. Remember, the back of an ellipse is not a mirror image of the front of an ellipse. Sometimes the back of an ellipse looks slightly flatter than the front edge of an ellipse, the part that's closer to us. Be careful that there are not sharp corners on your ellipse. If you look at my ellipse on the screen, the soft corner on the right is better than the soft corner on the left at the moment. From here I'll start working my way down the yogurt cup, and I'm really just repeating the front half of that first or second ellipse that we drew, using it as a guide. Be careful though, as your ellipses feed into the right and left side of your yogurt cup, you don't want those lines to abruptly intersect the sides. We haven't really begun that yet, but you can even see on that very short right and left vertical wall that I've added to the drawing, I want that third ellipse, the very bottom one, to smoothly feed into what we'll call the corners. And it should taper into the vertical walls of the yogurt cup, and our ellipses should not abruptly intersect those sides. Remember to be critical and to make adjustments to your lines and ellipses as you go. Don't be afraid to use your eraser. This instructional video includes no cuts or editing between the beginning and the end of a drawing. And that's so that you don't miss anything. You can pause it along the way while you work. And additionally, it creates a slower video that you can more likely follow along with. As you draw the two vertical sides of the yogurt cup, be sure to check how far away they are from the center axis. That'll give you a better chance of capturing the same slope or the same angle on those lines, just a mirror image of one another. Alright, I'm going to use another horizontal line to start to develop some of those ellipses along the bottom of the cup. I just want to make sure that the front half of these ellipses at the bottom feed into the vertical walls of the yogurt cup directly across from one another. And that horizontal line that I just added in as a guide a moment ago helps me to do that. Helps me to get the tips of that ellipse to feed into the vertical walls of the yogurt cup at exactly the same place, but on the opposite side. In order to capture the complexity of the yogurt cup along what appears to be the bottom, or it's at least the bottom of the drawing. Of course, the yogurt cup is upside down, but I'll refer to it as the bottom since it's the bottom of the drawing. We have to draw 5 curves at the bottom that are, the front half of ellipses. Now, if it helps you to draw the ellipses at the bottom completely, to draw right through your yogurt cup so that you can guarantee for yourself that those curves are accurate, you can do that. I'm mostly going to just draw the front half of these ellipses, and I want you to notice how these curves get closer together, or they pinch together a little bit as they wrap around and disappear around the back side of our yogurt cup. It's a challenging area. You can see I'm redrawing it, and I'll redraw it again before this video is over. Sometimes curves can be challenging to draw, and we move our pencil back and forth as we make a curve. Not a smooth, fluid mark, but sort of a nervous back and forth mark as we're feeling our way around that curve. Don't worry about that. You can always go back, and I'll do so at the end of my drawing, and redraw some of these lines in a smoother fashion, a more consistent stroke, where we move our pencil at a consistent rate. Right now we just need to find the appropriate curves. Alright, I'm adding in another horizontal line as I start to work out the rim of this yogurt cup, where it's actually meeting the surface, the table surface. Again, I want these marks to start directly across from one another because it is a symmetric object. And I'm actually drawing in, I don't know if you can tell, but a little bit of the back side of that large ellipse, just to see how it would look if the cup were clear, and make sure that it feels like it's the appropriate size ellipse to actually wrap all the way around our cup. We don't want this last ellipse, the bottom one, to be too far forward or low on the page or too high on the page and feel like it doesn't sit truly underneath our cup. Alright, I think I started the rim a little too far from the bottom of the ellipse that's already drawn. I think it was just a little too wide, so I'm redrawing that now. And I'm not really satisfied with all of how these ellipses meet and wrap around the back side of our cup, but that's okay. I'll get them in as best I can and then make some adjustments. Remember that drawing is a refinement process. We have a target, in this case it's the yogurt cup, and we keep trying to hit closer and closer to our target. We give ourselves more than one try too. So the first try is just to get some marks on your paper. And then the second try is a response to those marks. Where can you move those marks around so that it more accurately hits your target? I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning up my drawing now. All of the lines are in place, so I don't need those guidelines that I was using to help create these curves, those straight lines to help with both the symmetry and the ellipses. And I can also, at this point, refine some of the lines. I mean, they're mostly in the right place now, but the quality of the lines isn't entirely satisfactory. So I'm going to add a few little marks near the top where you can see from the reference on the right that the yogurt cup has sort of a soft corner where it bends a little bit. I don't want to draw a solid line there because it may look like a sharp hard corner. So just a couple of little marks where the ellipse, that soft ellipse, wraps around the back side of the yogurt cup, and maybe one little mark near the middle, and that's enough to let the viewer know that there is a change in the surface there without accidentally creating another hard corner. Oh my, what have I done? I didn't make a mistake. I just lightened most of my drawing with my eraser. I wasn't trying to get rid of it. I was trying to make it very light so that I can barely see some of those lines that were a little scratchy. And now I can, with a faster, smoother stroke, just trace on top of those light lines. There we go. And it gives me a much better looking, much more solid looking, and confident looking drawing. So if you make scratchy lines, if you wiggle your pencil tip back and forth while you draw, you might lighten that and smooth those lines out at the end of a drawing. Alright, this drawing is done. I hope you enjoyed drawing ellipses with Mr. Hurst.